My next guest is going to be fighting Rizvan Kuniev. I feel like I've said this 3 times already, but this fight's now going to take place at UFC Baku, June 21st. It's Curtis Blaydes back here on the program. Curtis, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Like I mentioned there, third time is a charm, I suppose. You were supposed to fight in Seattle, then you were supposed to fight at one of the Apex cards. Now this fight got moved to June 21st. Was there part of you thinking maybe this fight shouldn't happen? Now,
The UFC, they basically reached out like 2 weeks after I had to pull out of that Vegas card. And they were like, do you want to do, originally it was going to be May 17th in Qatar. And then I, I was the, that was going to be the venue, but then that changed in like a week. And then it was like, actually it's going to be June 21st in Baku. But I was all right with it because I've had a huge transition in my life. I'm back with my ex-wife. We are married again. Back with my daughter. So I just been using that time to obviously work in the gym, but also getting readjusted to life as a family unit and just all that comes with that, like parenting and all that.
good stuff. Oh, that's great. So your daughter's with you all the time then now?
Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. And when did you get married?
We didn't do a ceremony because we did that last time. We didn't do a ceremony. We went to the courthouse. Our anniversary is May 20th.
Okay, well that's good. So that makes things a lot easier because I know before you're having to run around a bit and do all that and figure out scheduling. So that's one less thing I'm sure to kind of worry about as well. Now, are you excited to go to Baku? Obviously, it's cool to travel and all that, but would you have preferred to have the fight stateside?
I mean, I would have rather not had to have pull out, but the virus is the virus. It got me, and I was very weak, so I had to do that. But I don't really care about traveling because I think I've had like 9 or 10 international fights. I like it. I like the experience. It comes with the job. You get to see a place that honestly I'm not gonna say I've never heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it, but never had a huge interest in going to Azerbaijan. But out of it going, we've been doing research and it seems like a really cool place and I'm just excited to get there, excited to get to the fight and then just get this money.
That illness you had, what exactly was it for people who might not know?
I had norovirus.
Okay.
It's basically like the flu times like 50 and it doesn't last as long as the flu. Like the flu lasts like 6 to 10 days. This lasts like anywhere from 12 to 48 hours. It got me. I was feeling the effects hard for about 16 hours. It hit me at 1 in the morning, and it's basically just you have explosive diarrhea and puking, and I've never been that dehydrated in my life. I was very, very weak. Had to get an IV. It was a whole ordeal. It wasn't meant to be on that night. But I'm happy we were able to maintain the matchup, and I like the matchup, and happy I still got to fight.
Yeah, and let's talk about Kuniev. We've talked about him a bunch in a couple other interviews, but now that you've had even more time to prepare for him, how do you feel like stylistically you match up against him here?
I feel like just as with everyone, my style of wrestling and striking, I think I'm a bad matchup for everyone. But particularly if you're not like a high level grappler, I think I can take advantage of a lot of holes, and I have the conditioning to keep up the pace, and I'm used to breaking guys with the wrestling or with the hands because I've had fights where I haven't had to use my wrestling, and I've been able to get the W still. So I'm very confident just in all areas that I have the advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Let's talk a bit about camp. Who you mainly working with for this fight? Who's been helping you get ready?
Uh, Usual guys minus one guy. He got injured. Vanilla in Tyan or Tynan. I don't know. We always
I
just
know who
go
that
by
is. Yeah.
Vanilla. He got injured. He hurt his knee, so he was out majority of this camp. But he's healthy now because he has a fight I think in August for one UFC. So he had to take a break. But besides that, there's been the usual guys. um, Zach Tonga, Ben, a different Ben. I forget his last name. He just Ben, uh, Zach, Ben, Tyler, Ty, the usual spot. And
Yeah.
it's been a pretty normal camp, just extended. So we we started to pick up the intensity and the pace about a month ago.
Nice.
It's just like my coach, he knows the science behind like peaking and falling and all that, and he's got it timed up that I'm peaking right about now. I'm feeling really good in my sparring rounds. Condition is good, so it's been a good camp.
Good. That's good to hear. And that coach, is that Cody Donovan or Vinny Lopez who you who you in the work?
Vinny Lopez. I actually haven't been working with Cody for this camp. I've been working with a different jiu-jitsu professor, Foster, and he's a black belt also, but his jiu-jitsu is more like heavyweight jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
Cody's
cool.
is more like he was a light heavyweight and a smaller light heavyweight, so his is more floaty and just involves a lot more athleticism. Not that I can't do it because I've been using it for years, but I really think Foster's more grounded heavyweight style of positioning and like heavy hips and stuff. I think that's gonna translate to a lot of success on the ground when I get the takedowns.
Who's making the trip over there with you? Speaking of coaches, who's going to be flying down there to Azerbaijan with you?
Vinny, Foster, and Zach.
Oh, nice. That's good. And how's this one playing out? How do you see it unfolding on June 21st?
I see it unfolding, me pressuring and getting takedowns, tiring them out, and finding a TK on the ground.
Okay, there we go. We talked about this before, but obviously Kuniev's sort of new to the UFC. So, and you've been obviously at the top. Your last fight was against Tom Aspinall. Like, where does a win put you?
Yeah, it's got to help out a little bit, but I don't expect it to make me the number one contender. I do believe that'll probably go to Gane, because I don't think John's ever going to fight Aspinall. I noticed you didn't even bring it up because I don't even think you believe it's worth.
Hey, we
about.
said this for I think like a couple interviews ago. I said the fight was going to happen. Was it? And I think you kind of agreed with me a little bit too, right?
So yeah, I think it's going to go to Gane.
Yeah. Well, I was actually going to ask you after, but I think at this point, what's the excuse? Like at this point now, like
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
I have no idea. I have no idea. Like I'm not going to be disrespectful and say he's scared. He can't be scared. I have no idea.
I just don't think, and I think that I said this the first time I brought this up, I don't think the reward is worth the risk, I think, on his end. It doesn't mean you're scared, but it's like he's had this great legacy, and I think like he feels as though like him beating Tom wouldn't add that much more to his legacy. And I think he's trying to get away with the fact, well, no, this is what I'm thinking he's thinking. I'm thinking he thinks that he can convince people that beating Stipe was like more meaningful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's wrong, but you're right. He probably does think that, but if he were honest with himself, like he hasn't beaten a real heavyweight, like a real prime heavyweight. You beat who he's got obvious holes in the grappling, and then you beat a old Stipe who was rusty and who did have you. He had you like there were moments in that fight where Stipe, a younger Stipe, maybe takes advantage of those times he had him. I think if John were to beat Tom, we would all be like, okay, he legitimately is the GOAT. He legitimately won the heavyweight title. It would just, I think it would help him. I think it would help him more than even if he lost. Because, bro, we get it. You're old. You're not a real heavyweight. We get it. You can lose. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I don't think the fight happens. And do you think they're going to do Gane and Aspinall next? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I heard they're doing I don't know if I heard this from you or from my homie Archie, but they're doing a card in France in August. So I'm
that is happening. I think the card in
but
Paris.
That would be weird if I'm Tom. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to France to defend my belt. But maybe he does because Tom seems like he just wants to fight. So I get that.
Yeah. Well, it's also shorter for Tom too, right? If he is fighting in Paris, right, as opposed to him fighting in the States. So maybe there's some incentive there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I agree with you. He should be fighting in the UK, right? So
yeah.
Do you and Tom still keep in touch? I remember you said after your last fight that you guys were kind of friendly and all that. I mean, there was always
Yeah,
respect, right?
yeah, we've spoken of a few times. Actually, I went to London in April, beginning of May. We went to go pick up some things for my wife. We went out there, and Tom was like, "Oh, you guys are here," but we had already left. But I think we might have linked up had we been there for a little longer. Because, like I said, I have no issue. Like, I'd like to work out with him because I don't get
Mm.
to train with any like high level. Like, you see those pictures of like Junior with like a Nogueira brothers and like all these like those are great camps. Those are great sparring sessions. I've Closest I got to that was when Alistair was here,
Yeah.
and that was great. But it wasn't like young Alistair, like young, scary, scary, scary Alistair. Like, he was still scary, but it wasn't the same. I would like to get over like because this even when you're sparring, there's a little bit of nerves when you're going against like a high level guy. I think
Yeah.
the more you do that, that's why guys like to train with other high level guys because you get over that. I think that's one of the best things about Merab. He gets to go with Aljo every day. Like, that's what you want. That's a great round.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. You're completely right. Kind of good segue here. Did you watch the fight on Saturday? What'd you think of Merab's win over Sean O'Malley?
I think I expected it. Like, after he already saw he had the blueprint,
Mhm.
there's nothing to switch. Like Merab's type of wrestling, like the reaction speed, that takes a lifetime to build. You're not gonna stop him with 6 months, a year. You can go to Augustin for a year. If you don't already have it, you're not gonna get it. I think I think he can do that to almost everyone. The only one I think he'd have slight issues with is, I could be biased, Sandhagen, because we've seen Sandhagen on the bottom. He's slick. He's an injured. But even then, I would expect for Merab to get a few takedowns, even on Sandhagen. He's got great footwork. I just also believe Corey's got the jiu-jitsu to negate the damage and all that. But that would be a hard. Like, Merab could possibly be the GOAT of that division. If he keeps on like he's been doing, I don't see how he loses because he already beat Umar. I can I can totally see him beat Umar again, and then there's Corey. And if he gets past Corey, like, who's left? I don't even know.
They could do like a yawn rematch, but you're right though. Like he's kind of running out of
Yeah,
options at this point, right?
yeah.
So
He's
there isn't
clearing
a
out
whole
the
lot out
division.
there. Yeah, which is crazy. Kind of on that same note, one name that we thought may have been in the in the position to fight Merab is Patchy Mix. Obviously, he lost to Mario
Yeah,
Bautista, and full marks to Bautista for getting the win here. He had a great game plan. But what did you think of Mix's debut? Because I know obviously you come over from another organization, you're going to be confident, but maybe cross that line a bit, saying he was going to choke all these guys out, and had a pretty bad debut.
that's why you don't do that. Like, there's already hella pressure on you, even though you're not you're going against a good guy, but Mario Bautista, what's his ranking?
He's like top 10, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not in that top five. There's always a difference. I don't think he approached this fight with the appropriate level of fear. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, fear makes me faster. It makes my reaction time better because I really, really don't want to get hit, or I really, really don't want to like get taken down. Like, and I think he didn't have that, and he looked a little slow. I don't know if that's age or wear and tear. 'Cause I didn't hear any of that before the fights. I'm not going to use that right now. I just He didn't approach it with the right mindset because he got the skill. Obviously, he just didn't approach it right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was an interesting debut there. I think I asked you this last interview, but I'll ask you again because obviously right now your division's in a bit of a weird spot. Like it's pretty top heavy, right? Like if you look at some of the names, and then you got like Teixeira, who's fighting Derek Lewis in a few weeks. Like I think he's only had a couple fights. He's already ranked, right? So it's kind of a weird spot. And we just had, a former opponent of yours, Rosenstrike. He was released a little while ago. Any worries at all if things don't go well on the 21st that might be the last fight for you? Like UFC might release you. Any worries on that or no?
No,
Yeah.
no.
You get
Like,
a lot of finishes, like I'll give you that. So
yeah,
that's one thing. And obviously, like, you've played ball a lot with the UFC, like in terms of
yeah.
taking matchups, but I just see the way they've kind of been getting rid of some fighters, and it just seems a bit odd the way they've done things.
It has been a lot of releases, but I do believe I've made enough of a mark on this company that I feel like I'm gonna be here for at least another 2, 3 contracts or 2 to 4 years
Mhm.
before I start thinking about like after the UFC. Like I feel like I'm still in fairly good shape. I haven't had a heck of a lot of injuries. I've been doing a pretty good job of staying healthy, and I'm only 34. So yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, no, didn't think so, but yeah, just I've kind of seen the way they've been doing business lately. It's just a
I've
little
I've
bit
been
odd, you know.
seeing it. I've been seeing I follow this page UFC alerts or whatever or
Yeah.
Burt News alerts, and he's just been posting like release, release, release. I'm like, geez, yeah, but it's usually like a lot of obscure names. Like you're not hearing like
Well, I
I'm
think when I saw Rosenstrike, that was a bit surprising to me. Only
yeah.
in the and granted, he's older than you, right? And you know, I know he had some fights, like the Shamil Gaziv fight wasn't that great, right? So I can understand maybe from that perspective. But that was a name where I'm kind of like, you already have a pretty thin division right now. Like that seemed like a name that kind of caught me off guard a bit.
You know, speaking of Jorginho, you know my buddy Zach,
Yeah,
he he's like a free agent. He fights for anybody. He got
yeah.
offered um, Jorginho
Oh, for
in
that dirty boxing thing, right?
no for karate combat
Oh,
actually,
karate
and they
combat.
were
Oh,
gonna
cool, nice.
do one here, and he turned him down once, and that was in like March. I
Oh,
remember
interesting.
him
A little bit of
talking
breaking
about it,
news. Okay.
and then they circled back and they asked him again a few weeks ago, and he said no. So I'm like, maybe he just doesn't want to fight no more. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, yeah, we'll sort of keep tabs on that a little bit, which is interesting. And then that was going to be kind of be my other question because you're going to renegotiate your contract after this fight, right? Is my understanding, or what's the latest with your contract?
I don't know. I have this one and one more after this one.
Right.
Almost
Usually you
almost contract.
renegotiate on the last
Yeah,
one, usually, right? So
usually.
yeah, that's good. Curtis, thanks for doing this, man. I know we've done 3 of these interviews on the same
Uh,
opponent, but I always appreciate the time. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
I actually do have a new sponsor. It's this
Perfect.
company called Air Vape. This is actually my sponsor, Air Vape.
Mhm.
It's it's to consume marijuana, but it's like a healthier way. It's almost like it superheats the weed, and you're just smoking straight up THC without any of the bad like carcinogens and all that stuff. So that's my sponsor, Air Vape.